It seems to me, first of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. If it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down.
And when it comes to establishing your worldview, I was curious, what newspapers and magazines did you regularly read before you were tapped for this to stay informed and to understand the world?
I've read most of them, again, with a great appreciation for the press, for the media.
But like what one specifically, I'm curious that you...
all of them, any of them that have...
Can demonic spirits attach themselves to inanimate objects? The answer is yes.
Welcome to Twat Waffle of the Week.
Welcome back to Twats. It's been a while since the last episode. Basically, about 3 years. Now, as I stated Monday, Twats will be my offering to you all whilst I rebuild my source material and figure out another topic. While I had already decided to bring Twats out of hiatus, this incident sealed the deal with my computer, and both David Barton and Gordon Klingenschmidt hitting my newsfeed pretty much on the same day sealed the deal. Now, for those of you who don't know, both Gordon and Barton I've been following since about 2005, and I have a wee bit of a distant attachment to Barton as he is from my hometown of Buffalo, New York. Barton, he's just a fucking asshole. So our first story is from White Wing Watch. Quote, religious activist and former Colorado state legislator Gordon Klingenschmidt says that Biden's low poll numbers are due to the fact that the people are starting to see and properly discern the demonic spirit that is in Biden, end quote.
More and more people are discerning the evil spirit that is influencing Joe Biden. They're saying, well, yeah, Joe Biden is a human, but he's being influenced by evil, and he's manifesting evil, and he's hurting the American people. I think God is finally answering our prayers, and when the people see and properly discern the demonic spirit that is in Biden, for example, to kill children, to hurt Israel, to promote the LGBT movement, to stand against religious freedom, even though he mouths, oh, I like religious freedom, but then he rules against it. People are discerning the evil that is inside of this man, and we think the Spirit of God is rising in the American people.
Now, there's nothing outrageous stated by Klingenschmidt in this video other than his usual bullshit. He is still stuck on the shtick, demonic spirit, which has been his thing since like 2010-ish. This next story is just bizarre. Basically, Hagen, the fiance, he's admitted he broke the law. But the entire kicker of this story really is what caused it. Quote, he spoke with the city to ask if he was able to place his flower box by her grave. The people of the city told me they don't enforce that unless it's a family member asked for it to be removed, said Higgins, end quote. So basically, a family member didn't like what he did. And this is the fiance. They were engaged like a month prior. So the asshole of this story, Reverend Tom Ford III, the to-be wife and Hannah's father. Now, what makes this terrible, as I said, this guy's a reverend. And he preaches at a local Baptist church called Grace Baptist Church, which is in Montgomery, Alabama. Quote, last month, Higgins was arrested for littering after putting the box of flowers on her grave. Hannah's father, Tom Ford, signed the warrant for his arrest. Hagen says he was never contacted by Ford prior to the arrest, end quote. So basically, the to-be father-in-law blew this kid in. And if he had issues with the wedding coming up, why didn't he say something instead of doing what he did? As Hemet Mehta notes in the article, grief is a really strange bedfellow, and trust me, I can agree to that. Now, as I was writing this script, a trial date has been set for early March.
Ohio Mayor Craig Schubert prompted stunned silence after telling a council work session Tuesday evening that ice fishing could lead to prostitution. Take a look.
Additionally, if you open this up to ice fishing, while on the surface it sounds good, then what happens next year? Does someone come back and say, I want an ice shanty on Hudson Springs Park for X amount of time? And if you then allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem. Prostitution. And now you got the police chief and the police department involved. Just data points to consider.
Okay. So I'm not in favor of shanties.
It's not exactly clear where Schubert got his information, but there's an old urban legend that occasionally makes the rounds on talk radio about prostitutes plying their trade in ice shanties along the lakes in Minnesota. Schubert previously made the news at a Board of Education meeting when he called a book of creative writing prompts child pornography, which led to death threats against school officials and him demanding that 5 members of the school board resign after accusing them of disseminating pornography in the classroom. The adult-themed prompts were assigned to seniors taking an advanced class, and parents had to sign waivers acknowledging that adult materials may be used in the class. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to visit us at rawstory.com, and if you'd like to see more of The Raw Report, please like and subscribe, and join others who like their news raw too.
What is this dude smoking? I mean, seriously, ice fishing leads to prostitution? At least according to this guy's logic. Thankfully, Craig Schubert of Hudson, Ohio, has resigned from office following his controversial comments. And what I find kind of fascinating about this story, according to Raw Story, there's a decades-old urban legend about prostitutes plying their trade in ice shanties along Miles Lake in Minnesota. Now, granted, that's Minnesota and the story's from Ohio, but still. So, I became addicted to David Barton's bullshittery about the same time of my interest in Gordy, about the mid-2000s. May have been sooner, but it basically came to the fore with the publication of The Jefferson Lies, Exposing the Myths You've Always Believed About Thomas Jefferson. Now, to be clear, if you read that book and have listened to any of his bullshit, Barton is a Christian nationalist, and at times he is referred to as the, quote, king of the theocrats. Simply put, he's a liar for Jeebus extraordinaire. Anyhow, Right Wing Watch has this to say concerning Barton's claim, which is, quote, the American government imposed no taxes on American citizens because the founding fathers knew that such taxes were unbiblical, end quote. Barton's overall theme from this piece, basically founding fathers, no taxes, all that shit, has been debunked by Right Wing Watch before. And like I said, he's a liar for Jeebus. Like any good apologist, he repeats his bullshit, though he's been corrected numerous times. If I remember correctly, I know for sure that Right Wing Watch did a story in 2017 and I believe 2016 concerning this same biblical passage. Now, normally I would play the video, but because it's from a private church, I'm not gonna possibly run into any hassles, so you're gonna have to deal with my reading. Quote, do you know that God talks about what we call the capital gains tax? The Bible also talks about things like the estate tax, the inheritance tax. It talks about progressive taxes. It talks about flat taxes. It talks about capitation taxes. The Bible has so much on economics. Hint, no it doesn't. It's interesting, he continued, even as Jesus and Peter were talking, and Jesus said, Peter, tell me, who pays taxes? The children or the foreigners? And Peter said, well, that's easy. The children don't pay taxes. It's the foreigners that pay taxes. Going back to Barton, see, that's why in early America you didn't tax the citizens. There was no direct taxes. We had to alter the Constitution to be able to tax you directly because we had all these taxes on the foreigners. We had all the tariffs and all the different ways of taxing the things that came from outside, not the inside. Well, that was a tax piece of policy out the Bible, end quote. So that brings us to the end of this TWAT episode. I will be updating the intro soon, sometime, hopefully, maybe, who knows. But as a closer, I thought I would include some new-to-me YouTube content creators I really enjoy, and I'm hoping you do too. As Creaky Blinder, our first choice, puts it, he is the sardonic purveyor of social stupidity. Peace out, y'all, and stay safe.